Cook County Commissioner Scott Britton. In honor of Women's History Month, we are joined tonight by 3 women from across the 14th District who go above and beyond in making our community a better place. Each of the women here today has been recognized by a friend or family member for giving back to the 14th District of Cook County, but often they do not receive the recognition that they deserve for their work. So I'm proud to lift their voices and provide a platform for their efforts to be celebrated today. So thank the 3 of you for joining us. I just want to take a moment for you to each introduce yourself. I'll kind of call on you and we'll do that for the questions that we're going to ask so that everybody gets a chance to talk to our fellow residents of the 14th District. So if you wouldn't mind just telling us a little bit about yourself, where you live and what you do. And we'll start with PJ.
Great, love to go first. Thank you, Scott. PJ Weiland. I live here in Glenview, on the west side of Glenview. I have been married to my husband, Christopher, for a long time and have 2 kids that grew up in Glenview. I have several other adopted children, foster kids, things like that, but I'm happy to be and proud to be a part of Glenview for the last about 20 plus years. Great,
thank you, PJ. Monica, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, thank you. I am Monica Garvey. My husband and I were actually both born in Ohio, but our family of 4, my husband Jim and our 2 children, Jessica and Alex, who are both young adults, moved to Glenview 20 years ago from Prospect Heights. We lived there prior. And our family very involved in athletic activities. I want to say we love to travel. I got some extreme sport people in my family. My husband's done triathlons, my daughter's a marathoner, and my son played football in college and still plays football, basketball, and baseball. So that's kind of we've taken up golf too, I want to say, as our activity during COVID. I was not a golfer prior, but we're getting there. So
that's a good time to pick it up.
It is. It was a good family sport that we could do, together. And kids live in the city, but they do come home occasionally for extended visits, and it's nice. So
yeah, I got to feed my kids tonight, so that's always fun. So Kathy, you want to finish it off?
Sure. I'm Kathy Millen. I'm the Executive Director of Partners for Our Community in Palatine. I was born and raised in Mount Prospect. Met my husband at Hawkeye, University of Iowa, and he was born in Barrington. So when the 2 of us got married, we met 41 years ago. So we got married, we decided what town is right in between, and we chose Palatine. And that's where I now have raised my 3 kids. 2 live in Chicago and 1 lives out in Indy. And we're finally empty nesters, and we decided it was a good idea to buy a Bernese Mountain Dog puppy. So one of our hobbies is walking and being pulled to my face by this 90, 100-pound dog as of late. But we've been keeping busy, just reading, watching Netflix. I have quite a list, if you want to hear them, of entertaining things to do at home. So that's how we've been surviving the last year, but happy to be here today.
Yeah, thank you all for being here. And if you wouldn't mind, I just want to talk to you a little bit about how you're involved in our various communities here in the 14th District. And at this time, I think I'll start with Monica, if you would. Just tell us a little bit about what you do.
I am currently the Director of Development for Family Service Center, serving our communities. I am very happy to be there. It's a mental health agency, which is so in need right now, given the world today. And I did have my start in philanthropy back in 2008, working for youth services. My daughter, who's the avid runner, started a 5K for youth services, and we were successful the first year. So the director of development, or the executive director, asked me to come and help with all their fundraising, including their capital campaign to get them into the current building that they're in, a beautiful building. And from there, my whole trajectory changed in life. I actually graduated as an accountant and had my CPA, was working there. And then all of a sudden I'm into philanthropy, but happy to be here, and served on several different committees, including the action committee for the trains, and then also have started a philanthropic group called the Philanthropic Exchange, which is a wonderful organization that we get together monthly and bring in different charities to introduce to a host of women in the community. And then what's neat is they go out and they'll decide which ones pull at their heartstring and get involved. So it's kind of a great way to learn more about all the services in our area.
That's great. As you may know, and you probably do, or at least have heard rumors about it, I was on the board of youth services at one time. So very dear and dear to my heart as well, Monica. So thank you. Kathy, can you now talk a little bit about the stuff that you're doing?
Sure. So, like I said, I'm executive director of Partners for Our Community, and that is an organization that's been around for 30 years. Our work is based in many different suburbs. We began the work about 30 years ago, back in Northeast Palatine, when that side of Palatine became annexed in to the town of Palatine. It was at that time that leaders in the community looked at the need in this high dense apartment complex area in Northeast Palatine and said, you know, I think we need to bring leaders and services together to wrap our arms around the folks that reside in these apartment complexes and try to lift them up so they have all the opportunities to be successful in their lives. And so I became a director there about 19 years ago. But I started my work back, I was a high school teacher in District 211. And then when I had my first child, retired from teaching there and went on to work for Harper College in the adult ed department, teaching GED. So it was interesting. I taught a lot of freshman remedial, so probably wasn't that great of a teacher because I saw those kids that maybe did not make it through high school in my GED program and began really feeling the passion for serving those adults and young adults that were struggling, and high school just was not a path for them for many reasons. And been working now at Harper for 31 years in the adult ed. But I began my work at POC, as the acronym for it, when Harper College asked me to start to bring the GED services to the apartment complexes. And I started that in Rolling Meadows in a little police neighborhood resource center. And then when I had the opportunity to serve my town of Palatine, I was really excited because when my children started school, I looked at the school classes they were in and saw, wow, doesn't really look like my neighborhood. I'm trying to understand what the school district is and where the school is that my children attend. And I realized that these were children coming from some really challenging backgrounds. And these are the peers of my kids. And I decided I really want to understand what their lives were like and how I could be a part in lifting them up in their families so they had equal opportunity to my kids. And so that's when I learned about the POC and brought the GED program there along with Harper. And they asked, we have a need for a director here. Would you like to try it? I said, well, I'll try it for a few months. And you guys know how that goes. 19 years later, I'm still trying to figure out my job. And it's different every day. And as you all know, this has been a crazy year. I'm sure we'll talk about it. But yeah, I always try to do volunteer work that I could bring my family to. So I did Meals on Wheels and Journeys for Pads. I did the laundry there with my kids. And POC is a place that people can volunteer with their kids. And that meant a lot to me for my kids to see what their mom was doing every day and to be a part of it as well.
Thank you, Kathy. That we have a perception in the North Shore and the Northwest suburbs that there is kind of uniformity of economic advantage. There is not. There is a lot of need and a lot of people who need the assistance, not necessarily of government, but at least a level playing field. And that's one thing we've been trying to give to our residents here in the 14th District since I've been in office. So thank you so much, Kathy. PJ, can you finish us off with a little bit more about what you do?
I have the good fortune of owning a business here in Glenview, and the business I'm in is coaching small business owners. So for me, the opportunity to interact with the local community is a natural. And also, one of the benefits of owning your own business is it gives me the flexibility to do other things and to add to it and to find passions that, things that I'm passionate about. Like Kathy, I'm a big believer in, getting the family involved and doing things and finding opportunities where that's appropriate. I was brought up to believe that there's volunteer work and then there's service work. And volunteer work is kind of that event-driven stuff that you do, but service work is committed to the relationships and committed to the community and committed to that. So that's a value that I have that I try to impart to my children and to our family, and that we really try to live. And that manifests itself in all sorts of opportunities that show up when you think that way. And when I look in the last year alone, the opportunities have been just unbelievable. Prior to just even this past year, I help at the high school. At GBS, I'm part of the incubator program where they are really working with business students on how to open new businesses and what that looks like. I'm very active in my local church at Our Lady of Perpetual Help in what they have to offer, whether it's the guilds or the events or just the ministries that happen there. So that's really important to me. I've had a pretty active role in the Glenview Chamber. I've been an ambassador for years, and that gives me a lot of opportunity to really help the business owners. And I do that through like educational events, through this past year, Zoom alone has been kind of in the forefront of some of the work that I've done. I have tracked that I've trained over 3,700 people in Zoom during the pandemic. So kind of a shocking number and way too much time on Zoom for that. But education, I really believe education is what is necessary to help people. So I focus a lot on that. In the pandemic, the yellow signs you see around the Glenview area, they're from our offices here so that we can get the people open, things like that. Helping people with, grand reopenings when things were closed down, really helping folks drive that. I also have a strong passion for hunger and folks that have to make a choice between whether they pay their mortgage or whether they eat, the insecurity, the food insecurity. So some of the work that I do has to do with either serving with Hunger Resource Network, which is an organization that helps with providing protein. I also work a lot with food pantries and delivering food and things like that, and fundraising for folks that need food. So that's a big passion of mine as well. And therefore it's a passion of my family's because they get kind of dragged into it as well. So those are some of the things that I'm pretty passionate about here and enjoy doing in Glenview and the surrounding area.
That's great, PJ. We have to focus on our local businesses through the chambers, through educational opportunities, and then our 501c3 social service organizations who have suffered so significantly over the last year. All of those things, including our food pantries, need help in our township government. So that's going to be a focus of mine over the next few months, and we're going to try and get everybody involved. So we may be seeing each other again on Zoom. The next question is going to be more focused on if you can kind of tell me about one thing that you feel that you're most proud of that you did in service to our common community here in the 14th district. And then also as a part of that, can you have suggestions for other people, particularly women who might want to get involved in other activities and the things that you've been doing that you can share with our audience here in the district. So why don't we start with Kathy on this one, most proud of, and how can people get involved?
Right. I think when I think back to all the areas of the work that I've had the privilege and the honor of doing in these 19 years, one of the programs we started is called Roll, and it's Reaching Out, Lifting to Excellence. And it's a program for women. And it's what it is identifying a woman that has leadership potential, that possibly was a leader in her country. I work mostly with immigrants from all over the world. And this woman had an incredible career in her country, or she had volunteer work that she did in her country, and she's here now and does not look at herself as a leader. She doesn't feel that she's a leader in her home. She doesn't feel that she's a leader in how she can speak to the principal in the school and her child's teacher. Many of these women suffer from domestic violence as well. And so we started this program called Roll with an incredible staff of mine named Lisa Gutierrez, and she believes strongly that in every woman there is a leader. And you have to help this woman find it. And so what we'll do is we'll identify these women. Many of them I identified through my GED classes. And then you match them up with a mentor. And this mentor relationship has lasted for years among some of the women, but they developed an action plan. And from that, many times their action plan was getting their citizenship, getting their driver's license, getting a job, or many of them said, I just want to be able to talk to my child's teacher. I want to be a stronger parent. I want to go to college. Those are some of the ideas. And then we work alongside of them. And through this program, we've now sent women to Zurich for internships. And one of my role moms is now, was at work, she was the employee of the year at Northwest Community Hospital last year, Violetta. And it is an honor to work alongside of these women. And in some cases now, these women have become care providers for some of their mentors that are now in their 80s and their 90s, and they're in need of support. So I've learned through this the power of empowering a woman and how this woman can change their family's life. And I think out of everything I've done, there's been many areas that I feel very, very drawn to. But this is probably the one that I think has the most lasting impact in our community. These women are now working, and they are giving back, and they are volunteering, and I call them friends and neighbors. And I feel very privileged and honored to have been able to do that work. And for people getting involved in the community, when I first looked, I kind of like PJ, I was looking for something I could do with my family. And then I started to be drawn to nonprofits that as essential as those are, that give those gift cards and that food and all those items you need. I was looking for the work that was developing leadership and empowering people. And so I went to the local churches, I went to the school district, I went to the township, I went to the library, and I did a lot of due diligence on that. And that's how I came up with POC. So I'm drawn to things I can do with my family, volunteer efforts that really build a community in terms of strength and vibrancy and independence.
That sounds great. Thank you so much, Kathy.
Thanks,
PJ,
Scott.
you want to go next for most proud of, and how can other women get involved in our community?
And proud's a tough word for me because I try to keep that kind of, that's a tough one. But I look at it and say, I'm most proud of my children. And I say that from the standpoint of being able to be the example, being able to, help them understand what's necessary, being able to, both model it and then live it and show them and see what they're doing as young adults. We brought into our house a young man who was homeless, and to be able to see and share that with the community, and not just my kids, but just the community at large, to say, you can do this too. Like I'm not special. I'm not doing anything that you wouldn't do if you had found yourself in a similar situation, to open your home or to, drop stuff off or to reach out to people or make those connections, whatever that looks like. So it's that modeling that transcends, inspiring other people to find opportunities to do that and to give them the freedom to do it, the freedom to go take action and to not worry about the rules or the perception or any of the barriers that get in our way. And I think in the last year, we've been given a lot of permission to take action and a lot of permission to not just wait, because the rules have all changed. No matter what we're doing, the rules have changed. So what we thought were the rules don't exist anymore. So, that permission is what I'm probably most proud of or most excited about, that people have that opportunity now to do things they never thought were possible.
Yeah, I do think that there has been opportunity in this entire pandemic era that we've lived in over the last year that have not only made us think outside the box, but have given us an opportunity to do more good than we ever probably thought we could, mostly because the demand was so great. There were so many places and so many people who needed help. And I think trying to do that collectively as a community has been one of the strengths of all the areas that I represent here in Cook County. So I think that all sounds great. Thanks, PJ. And Monica, can you finish it off with most proud, most excited, and then how other people can get involved as well?
Sure. So what makes me proud to serve this community? I'll tell you, Scott, I continue to be so impressed and humbled by the work that so many do to support the community. I like to think of myself as somewhat of a messenger. I love connecting and networking and introducing, different people to each other who may be able to help each other. And I think that was really important during this past year, especially. And the phrase that it takes a village is ringing very true. I really do believe that, you know, there's so many people that deserve credit. I feel humbled to be here today, but you know, I'm just one of many, and there's you know, so many people to honor. How do I suggest that someone looking to be more involved get involved in our community, and how do they begin? To that, I'd answer maybe just begin to volunteer. I used to say be careful for what you volunteer for, because that's what changed my trajectory when I volunteered to help with the 5K my daughter started, and philanthropy, you know, became my passion. But with that said, I think volunteering, you know, does help you hone in on what's pulling at your heartstrings, what you're, you know, wanting to get involved in, stay involved in. And there's so many, I mean, this is coming back to being another thing that we should be blessed about in our community. There's so many amazing agencies that need help. And I've been fortunate, like I said, to work in quite a few with youth services, family service center now. And the amazing thing too is that there's care for everyone. You know, we take it from children to seniors, especially with those two agencies. And you know, we have so many opportunities with other charities to volunteer at any point. I would say if once we are able to get back to opening up the philanthropic exchange, anyone is welcome to attend our monthly meetings. They're held at Elisa Bonner's art studio most of the time, and sometimes elsewhere, but it's a great way to engage and learn. We bring in a different charity every month, and just to see what else, you know, is drawing you to give back to the community. And I can say that it's happened so many times over the years. We started that back in 2016, I think it was, and it's been amazing to just watch how many women have signed up for different volunteer opportunities because of what they've learned. They're just not, you have to learn about them, I guess, to know where to go. So thank you, though.
Great. So
Yeah.
I just want to say, again, thank you all for joining me here tonight. I appreciate the time you took off, not just to speak, but also to talk to your neighbors in the 14th district. And I'm grateful to work beside all of you as we try to build a 14th district better together. Thank you.
Thank you for all you do.